One question can bring you back to what anchors you, to the permission hiding beneath your pressure, to the truth that your body has been whispering long before your mind caught up. Welcome to One Question, a short weekly reflection to help you reconnect with your body, your values, and your truth. This week's question is, what am I afraid will happen if I rest? This episode was almost nothing, literally nothing. Because last week was full and heavy and nonstop. And by the time Sunday rolled around, my whole system quietly shut the door on the world and said, absolutely not. I spent the day yesterday doing the bare minimum, a little tidying, a little laundry, and then I slipped into something I hadn't experienced in a while. Totally unstructured time. I sat on the sofa knitting, listening to music, letting my mind drift, and then binge watching a show on Sky TV and not thinking about anything that I should be doing. It was lovely. It was quiet. It was regulating. And I did not record the podcast. Not because I refused, not because I rebelled, but because I genuinely forgot. And then this morning, as I was planning my week, the thought hit me, oh shit, I forgot to record the podcast. And for this little split second, this feeling of guilt rose up like a reflex, a teeny tiny panic, a sense of having dropped the ball. And then, in a breath, almost immediately, I shrugged. Because I needed that Sunday more than I needed to prove anything to anyone. I needed rest more than I needed productivity. And honestly, nothing bad happened. But that moment made me think about this week's question. What am I afraid will happen if I rest? It's a surprisingly vulnerable question because the fears underneath it are real. We're afraid things will fall apart. We're afraid we'll fall behind. We're afraid we'll be judged. We're afraid rest means we're lazy or uncommitted. And we're afraid that our value is tied to our output. And underneath all of that, there is often a deeper fear. We're afraid of disappointing someone, including ourselves. There's a psychological concept called ego depletion. It's the idea that our capacity for focus, self-control, decision-making, and emotional labor is finite. Do you hear that, ladies? It's finite. It doesn't last forever. When we push past our limits, we're not being strong. We're draining the system. Neuroscience tells us the same thing. The brain's default network, the part that lights up during rest, daydreaming, knitting, wandering, showering, is responsible for creativity, processing emotions, integrating experiences, and solving problems that we can't think our way through. In other words, rest is not the opposite of productivity. Rest fuels productivity. And yet most of us treat it like it's a crime. Something indulgent, something suspicious, something we need to justify. Why? Because our culture glorifies exhaustion and calls it commitment. It worships busyness and calls it value. It rewards burnout and calls it success. But our bodies, the wise, ancient systems inside of us, do not care about capitalism. They care about rhythm, cycles, recovery, pauses, humanity. When I ask myself, what am I afraid will happen if I rest? The honest answer is, I'm afraid of disappointing my own expectations of myself. I'm afraid of letting something slip. Afraid someone will notice the gap. Afraid rest will expose the places where I am stretched too thin. But when I do rest, really rest, everything inconvenient I feared would happen never does. Instead, I soften. I reconnect. I laugh more easily. I think more clearly. My creativity returns and my nervous system settles. And I come back to myself with more presence than I had before. The truth is, rest doesn't break me. It rebuilds me. So if you want to explore this question yourself, try this. Ask, what story do I carry about rest? Where did that story come from? Who taught it to you? Is it even yours? Then, notice your body's reaction to the idea of resting. Is it tight, uneasy, defensive? If so, that reaction is fear. And then experiment with one tiny pause this week. Not a vacation, Not a whole day off, just a pocket of quiet, a moment of being instead of doing. And then ask again, what actually happened when I rested? Your body will tell you the truth. If this question stirs something up for you, pay attention. That tug might be the part of you that's exhausted from holding everything together without a break. The truth has probably been waiting beneath the guilt, hoping you'd slow down long enough to hear it and take a day off, like a real day off. So, what are you afraid will happen if you rest? Until next week, honor your truth, trust your body, and keep asking better questions.